This episode is powered by Poddex.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Welcome to another wonderful episode of the podcast that you do with me, known as MCVC or Mike and Collin's Virtual Collision.
We are doing this episode in one monotone voice, and we are not going to break it
Yes,
for
we
3
are.
straight hours.
We're doing an episode for 3 straight hours.
Well, we're recording, so we can't stop now.
Oh, okay.
This episode is brought to you by Poddex. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, today we're gonna kind of another regular episode. You guys have kind of seen these before. We're gonna start the episode off with a pod deck. Again, check them out, poddex.com. Code MCVC, get yourself 10% off. You've been here, you've heard this before, so we're just going to jump into it.
And if you haven't
Afterwards,
heard it before, go watch a previous video. It's in the same.
yeah,
We've said it like 8 times.
yeah. I know other content creators have it too, so it's an up and coming thing. You'll probably see more of them as you see more of us. So yeah, we'll kind of kick things off with a pod deck card. We might talk for 5 minutes. We might talk for 15. We might talk for 20, but 20, we'll probably try to cut it off at 20. And then Mike brought up the idea of the Mandela Effect and some videos he's seen lately. So we have a video popped up, and we're just going to kind of go through it and just react to it, see if we have some similar views on things, different, whatever it looks like. And yeah, as we go through that video, definitely feel the comments and see how you guys are perceiving things too. So.
Oh yeah, well, like, dude, I didn't even know Patrick Swayze. Like, when he died, I thought Patrick Swayze wasn't dead. So that was like one thing I learned about that. Like, I did not know. Well, then again, I didn't really pay too much attention to Patrick Swayze. But there's a lot of crazy stuff that's gonna happen in that video. But yeah, let's just start off with the pod deck card and get the ball rolling.
All right. Oh, okay, cool. What is your most treasured possession?
My most treasured possession, probably my life. The fact that I'm able to, like, I'm able-bodied, I'm able-minded, I'm overall, that's the thing, like, that no matter what, like, well, obviously someone could take it from you, but then it's not your problem anymore. All my other stuff is, at the end of the day, no matter how sentimental it is to me, it's just items. It's just stuff that is material possession that I've never been the kind of person who, like, associates sentimentalness to, like, items. Like, yeah, I'd be upset if, like, my TV got broken, but it wouldn't be like the end of the world to me. Or if my computer broke, that would cause a lot of issues for college. But beyond that, it's just like I'm not going to allow it to destroy my positivity. So yeah, the one thing I cherish the most and value the most is that I get to wake up every single day feeling good that there's so many things I can set out to do, and just try to tell myself every day to appreciate what I have within myself, and it all kind of starts from there.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the direction I was gonna take in. Again, it's I don't think of like actual possessions because if it has a dollar amount tied to it, it can be replaced. Is the way I look at it.
Exactly.
Whether that's through insurance, whether you're well off and you're rich. Oh, I crashed my Ferrari, one of my most prized possessions. I'll just buy another one. Kind of similar to like you said, your life. I like probably my most prized possession is like my knowledge, the things I know, because those aren't capped things that you can put a price tag on, and they're limitless. Because the things that you have in your head, the things that you know, the things you're capable of, are what is going to provide you an income, give you wealth, not necessarily wealth in a monetary way, but wealth in um, a knowledgeable way of wisdom. I can't remember I think it was from our last episode. You had mentioned wisdom over knowledge.
Yeah.
And that I feel like that's where you reap the rewards of knowledge, where you can finally put the price tags on your knowledge, is when you turn it from knowledge into wisdom, because you finally converted it into something that you're able to apply to your life, whether that's a career, whether that's a hobby, or just something you do once in a while on the weekends, or something you do nonchalantly that you don't realize.
Well, it's like know-how versus experience too. Like you could have somebody who understands the. Well, that's weird. Seeing like 4 red lights. Okay, there they go. Yeah, there's a car. Whatever. Anyways, the way my my window is from my balcony. There's a hill behind my place, and like there's cars that you can always see driving. But this dude was just like parked there. It was weird. But anyways, when you like say for example, you have like somebody who understands football or something like that. They've never played a game in their life, though. They've never actually played football. They could know the game inside and out, but it will never equate the same amount to the experience you have from being on the field because you get to see every side of things. Or even like other concepts such as like fighting or getting into the out of the physical aspect of life, but even playing chess. You could understand and study a chessboard left and right, but you're not going to get better by just knowing what the concept of the game is. Yes, it definitely helps, but the experience you gain from doing the thing and the wisdom that comes with the setbacks or the successes, because winning doesn't really do too much for you outside of validation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ultimately the thing about winning, which is kind of funny. It's like you learn more from losing and failing than you ever do really from winning. Like the only thing you really learn is, well, this worked against this specific situation. But when you lose or fail, you're like, okay, well, now I have to consider several different things here. What would I do different next time? And I think just being able to to be able to impart that wisdom and combine it with that knowledge, like you're saying, is definitely something to value. And it's definitely a good possession. Like when you can actually bridge that gap and not just and stay humble too. That's the thing too. Like I like humility. It's okay to be secure and confident in the things you know, but also stay humble in the idea that like you don't know everything. You're not the best at everything is also important too. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess my ability to stay humble and to not kind of get consumed by the confidence that comes in knowing how to do something now and the wisdom that comes with doing that thing in practice.
For sure. And kind of one thing I was just thinking about too, and um, we won't dive into this too much. We actually did our last episode. We did something we always try to steer away from, that's getting into religion and politics and stuff. And if you want to listen to us talk for an hour and a half about religion and politics and education and the military, check out our last episode. But I'm just going to say a brief moment on this. You're talking about how somebody who has never played a snap of football but can know everything about it. It's very similar to like your NFL analysts, your people who talk on like ESPN and NFL Network and stuff. And then thinking about it in the political stance of it, it's funny how that applies to literally every single person. Where you have your politicians, and then but then it applies to every single American as well, because we all have the right to vote. So it's like we're all like how you said to like be humble about it. None of us are there's only a couple thousand politicians that exist in the country, but yet there's millions upon millions of us who are novice politicians because we vote. Like we have some say in what goes on in our country. Um, yeah, that was just a comparison I wanted to make there, and that was really
No,
all I
yeah, no,
want to
I
say
get it.
about it.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from with that and the understanding of like when it comes to politics and that idea, it's definitely one of those subverts or divisions of society where it's like you should have to not like educate yourself. I honestly think it's kind of weird that you can vote without actually knowing anything about politics. I find that very fascinating to me because it's obviously like I don't get why you'd feel inclined to vote if you don't even really know outside of politics, outside of what you hear on Facebook or what you watch on the news. And it's because like I could, for example, grow up watching CNN my whole life or watching Fox, and that's going to instantly already decide kind of where I politically lean to some extent. Whereas like I've met a lot of people who lean Republican who have sat there and they said, turn that garbage off. Or I've seen on the other side of things where like, oh, Fox, this is just all like one-sided propaganda, and it's just funny to hear that from, and to hear the different political leanings when it comes to, because news should never be politically one-sided. And it's weird how, because of the partisan system, I really do believe that we need to break the mold and start shifting, as like, because the world is changing constantly, especially America is constantly shifting, and we do need to divert. If, like, everyone keeps talking about change and wanting to see change and understanding change and wanting growth, but in order to do that, we need to create a system then that's going to actually propagate change, that's going to not be something that we've been running, because otherwise it's just going to be the same thing regurgitated over and over again with new revised principles, and there's always going to be that divide. It's like it's kind of like flipping a quarter at this point. Politics shouldn't be like flipping a quarter. It shouldn't be heads or tails. It should be, okay, well, we have the spectrum, we have this side of things, we have this side of things, and then it's like we got to find compromise, we got to find that middle ground party concept that actually gives us the most benefit. But there's always going to be setbacks. You got to accept them. Like, when it comes to the running of our country, you're not going to like everything about it. Not every, like, there's going to have to be sacrifice one way or the other for every single individual in the country, and it's just figuring out how we can bridge that gap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Things and stuff. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm fine leaving it at that, just because I know eventually it's going to be 30 minutes and be like, oh, we haven't started the video yet. So, so yeah, that was our card for the day. As I had mentioned, I'm gonna pull up a video on the Mandela Effect, and we're just gonna go through it. We'll probably stop. It says it's top 20, so we'll stop after each example, break it down how we're both perceiving it or whatever, and just kind of see if there's similarities or differences. So, I'm going.
Yeah, no, and I'm actually very excited about this concept. The Mandela Effect actually really, I don't know, something about it just trips my brain out just a bit, because I like the idea of, like, this isn't just one or two people. This is a lot of people in society who are, like, impacted by this. And it's so crazy how, like, even if it's subliminal, like, it's also because of other things that happen in pop culture, as they'll kind of get into, you'll notice that, is like other movies that reference some of these other things even get it wrong. So that kind of perpetuates the effect in your mind, because you're seeing it through other channels, you're seeing it through other movies or other media where it's shown the wrong way. So therefore it's already been imprinted in your brain over and over again subconsciously, what you think this is supposed to be and what it realistically is. And it's just, oh man, it is awesome to me. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people have seen this channel before. It's Watch Mojo.
Mm-hmm.
Very popular channel on YouTube. They make a lot of awesome videos, and it's I like to go and just explore their videos a lot of the time. So.
Yeah. We get started. Sorry, I was yawning.
What is real? Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 craziest examples of the Mandela Effect. For this list, we're looking into the strangest instances of collective false memories, otherwise known as the Mandela Effect. And no, this list isn't one itself. We did do a version of this already. We're just adding more entries.
It's time to bring her in, George!
Number 20. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Your childhood might not look the same after this. As we all know good and well, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood always began with its titular host singing its theme song.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor.
This much is true, but that well-known opening line, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood," not so much. Although it doesn't scan quite as well, it's actually a beautiful day in this neighborhood. But how did we all miss this when we've heard the song so many times in our youth?
It's one hell of a day in my neighborhood. A hell of a day for a neighbor.
It could be worse, we suppose. It's not like he was wearing leather jackets instead of cardigan sweaters this whole time. Number 19.
It's this neighborhood.
Yeah,
I always thought I always thought it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and they actually even got it wrong in the I believe in the Tom Hanks biopic of Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, have you seen that?
I haven't yet, but they also get it wrong in that. They also note it as it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. But yeah, no, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood is what he sings. And yeah, no, weird. That's one of the ones that actually for me, I like that one wasn't too surprising, but also it did kind of rub me the wrong way. I was like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, because I saw that the one with Tom Hanks. Great movie, by the way. So if you ever have the chance to see it, I'd recommend seeing it. But
oh, there's a funny video on YouTube. What's kind of funny, kind of like, so there's this dude who makes so he makes like they just make a bunch of different like kind of trailers for these concept movies. One is actually Mr. Rogers, and if he was like a Vietnam War veteran. And yeah, no, and it's interesting. It's kind of funny to check it out. And they also make one called Dirty Laundry. That's like a continuation of like the original Punisher movies. It's called Dirty Laundry. It has Ron Perlman in it in the video. So it's yeah, no, like I'll actually link this to you sometime and I'll show it to you.
okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I never heard of that before. All right, Fruit of the Loom logo.
18. Fruit of the Loom's logo. Fruit of the Loom is a clothing company renowned the world over. Its logo is similarly famous, showing fruit spilling out of a cornucopia. Or at least that's what many of us remember it as being. In fact, the logo doesn't contain a cornucopia at all. Okay, so maybe an old logo has it, right? Nope. Versions of the logo dating back over 100 years lack the cornucopia too. So why do so many people associate a cornucopia with Fruit of the Loom?
I definitely have never seen a cornucopia. Like,
No, see, and I haven't, and that was weird for me too to hear that there's people who distinguish that. And I was thinking one might have the psychological impression of that because they see like the fruit like that, and it has like the green vegetation. They just kind of assume that it's filler, and they might have like just kind of subjected themselves to the idea that it's supposed to be in something.
yeah. Yeah, this logo that's on the screen, that's how I've always remembered it as. Obviously, it's got like revamped over the years, but yeah, I never remember a cornucopia. So
Even parodies and references to the Fruit of the Loom logo contain cornucopias, but not the genuine article. Number 18. The Monopoly Man's Monocle. The board game Monopoly features a memorable mascot named Rich Uncle Pennybags, also known as the Monopoly Man or Mr. Monopoly. He's famous for his suit, top hat, and large mustache. However, people are divided on whether or not he wears a monocle. Reality seems to favor that he doesn't, but our memories of this childhood game can't be false, right?
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. And you must be the Monopoly guy.
Heck, even Ace Ventura made the mistake, and he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Could it be as simple as conflating the Monopoly Man with other rich fat cat mascots like Mr. Peanut? Or has someone bought up all our memories? Number 6.
yeah, I definitely.
I just love that much, everybody. I just fucking love that.
Yeah, no, I definitely remember a monocle.
See, and that one, I do think like what they noted is that like I think it is a combination of Mr. Peanut and stuff like that. Like our brain just kind of blurs our idea. Like I feel like we all kind of create this image of dapper and what like rich looks like in that respect of that idea. And I think that's where a lot of this next one, by the way, this one gets me. I swear to God, this next one like freaked me out a bit. But with that one, yeah, no, there's like I swear there was a monocle, but I was also like I'm more willing to accept that maybe I just did that because I've always seen the Mr. Peanut thing with a monocle too and the top hat. So
yeah, no,
yeah, this one really bothers me.
17. Sex in the City. This much-loved HBO show and subsequent movies follow a group of 4 women and their love lives in New York City.
I didn't feel a thing. It was like, hey, babe, gotta go. Catch you later. And I completely forgot about him after that.
But are you sure that isn't just because he didn't call you?
However, strangely, there is some disagreement on what its title is. Although some would swear up and down it's called Sex in the City, its title is actually Sex and the City. Now, the easy explanation is that people tend to slur the word "and" a lot, so that Sex and the City becomes Sex in the City.
Really?
However, there also seems to be plenty of merch and newspaper headlines bearing the word "in" instead of "and", so what gives? Did reality go out for too many drinks with the girls? Number 16.
But yeah.
What
so
the
that one
fuck?
yeah, see, that one for me, I swear to God, has always been Sex in the City. I've never heard it referenced as Sex and the City until I started exploring the Mandela Effect, and I was like, that just doesn't seem right to me at all. Like, it bothers me, and I was like, okay, this is really freaky. That was like the first time that I was like, okay, because like the rest I could explain, but like, and I get how they're talking about like. Even the people I know the most that like slur their words, I feel like still have the most distinction in saying "and." Like, I think even my mom watching Sex and the City, I guess, growing up, it was always like, even I swear, even seeing it on the TV, it said Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Like, I do not recall.
I think it was a Fox show, wasn't it? It was on Fox.
I think so. Let me look that up real quick.
I remember like my parents didn't watch it a lot, but I know they watched it like enough that like you said, I always remembered it like Sex in the City. But yeah, like I like "in" and "and" are close enough words that I could see how they could be like there's that close like relation to them, but yeah, that one's weird.
Yeah, I can't find where it was on Fox or not. But yeah, either way, no. Like, I even Googled it, and I was like, that just bothers me significantly, because I was like, no, it's Sex in the City.
Yeah. All right, so Lucy has some
splaining to do. I Love Lucy is a classic sitcom and among the most influential TV shows of all time.
It's Ricky. Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Rick. What's going on here? Why'd you slam the door in their face?
Lucy's husband on the show, Ricky Ricardo, played by real-life husband Desi Arnaz, had a particularly memorable catchphrase. "Lucy, you've got some splaining to do." Or did he?
Lucy, you got some splaining to do!
While Ricky frequently said the word "splain" in various contexts, he never says this exact quote, despite the supposed line being cited all over pop culture.
Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
It could just be a summation of Ricky's frustration with Lucy's antics distilled into a catchphrase that never was.
The Bachelor is back.
Nobody
Stream it
fucking
live
cares.
on ABC with YouTube TV.
It's all fucking scripted.
Are you ready to step up your ball game? It takes performance.
See, I've never watched I Love Lucy, so that one I was like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, really...
But no, it like the fact that it's referenced in pop culture, like it showed it in whatever
that
cartoon
70s show.
Yeah,
and
then
then
the other cartoon.
Rocco's Modern Life, I think is what it's called, Modern World, something like. Yeah, either way, yeah, the fact that it trickled over that mainstream is like it's kind of wild to me, because it's like this happens quite often. There's like another one further down the list that you're gonna see like, holy crap, like that also has been misappropriated through other several pop culture shows and movies.
Yeah. Well, it makes you think too with a lot of these like Mandela Effect things, why like either the producers of these films or wherever like the misunderstanding is, how like they don't notice that there's thousands or millions of people that are understanding it, so they come out and fix it. So they just like oh, whatever, let them roll with it and let them think for years and years that this is how it's been, but it's actually not. So this one I've seen before.
Number 15, Oscar Meyer versus Oscar Meyer. An American meat company, Oscar Meyer has remained a fixture of pop culture thanks to its recognizable logo, famous Wienermobile, and several catchy jingles. But its name is a source of some consternation, as a lot of people remember Meyer being spelled with an E instead of an A.
Oh, I wish I were an Oscar Mayer wiener. That is what I truly like to be.
Old news clippings can even be seen spelling it M-E-Y-E-R. So is it just a case of the alternate spelling being more common, leading to misspellings?
My baloney has a first name, it's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name, it's M-A-Y-E-R.
You'd think with one of its jingles having lyrics literally spelling out the company's name, though, it would be impossible to get it wrong. But there are those who swear the lyrics have changed since they were younger. Number 14.
That one I could see is just a matter of like, especially in the English language, how like words can be spelt the same way and either sound different or is spelt the same. So like that one, it's like that one I could see how there's a misunderstanding about it.
And I was even talking with one of my friends yesterday about like they didn't know why they spelled like, because they know how to spell the word parrot, but they accidentally spelled it P-E-R-R-O-T instead of P-A-R-R-O-T, and they're like weirded out, and they're like, no, I know that's an A, and it's like because the eh sound is a very confusing one that can like the pronunciation of E and A does kind of sound similar to the point where it's like Meyer could definitely be translated wrong in that respect, just like you said.
Mm-hmm. What's the thing too is I had people in going to school who had the last name Meyer, M-A-Y-E-R, and E-R. So like I literally like remember people that had it spelled both ways. Yeah, no, like that's the thing too with vowels is how there's long vowels, short vowels, and like whether they're before or after certain letters, and like fuck English, man, that's just complicated.
Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. In this seminal Disney animated film, the villainously vain queen famously possesses a magic mirror. To call on it, she says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" Except that's not the line in the Disney movie.
Of course
Magic
it's not.
mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
In Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the queen says, "Magic mirror on the wall." This is a strange case because the original fairy tale has her say mirror, mirror. It's just the Disney version that's different.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, is this not the most perfect kingdom of them all?
This could simply be a case where people are conflating the fairy tale and the Disney film, but even so, it's odd that something as popular and well-known as Snow White wouldn't be better remembered.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
Number 13.
Yeah, so, and it's like, because even in the original fairy tale, it was mirror, mirror. So I definitely think that one is, like, Disney kind of fucked it up at first. So it's kind of like, all right, well, they changed it intentionally. But it is weird people will swear up and down in the original Disney movie that they say mirror, mirror, but it's magic mirror.
Well, especially because it's like Disney, yeah, like you said, Disney made this movie that was apparently magic mirror, and in later Disney movies they say mirror, mirror. So it's like, how the fuck can you not have people like?
Oh yeah,
like,
it's good to be
like it's good to be consistent, and even Disney's like, nah, we're gonna switch it up once in a while.
Just to fuck with you.
Yeah. Curious George's Tale.
Curious George's Tale. Curious George is a monkey and the star of many children's books and television series.
Hey, George! Perfect kite flying weather, huh?
Given how long the character's been around, many are surprised to realize that he doesn't have a tail. After all, George is a monkey, and most monkeys have tails. Apes generally don't, by the way, and Curious George is repeatedly referred to as a monkey. Could the common confusion between the two sets of primates be the root of this Mandela effect? Or has reality changed the features of George's posterior? Whatever the case, we are certainly curious to find out. Number 12.
That motherfucker didn't have a tail?
For me, that one always felt right, though. Like, I never thought he had a tail, which is, like, kind of weird where it diverts. It's like, for me, I've just always thought he didn't have a tail. I used to read the books, and, like, I swear he didn't have a tail in those either. Because I remember there was, like, a drawing of like, it was him and, what the hell's the guy? They just call him the man with the yellow hat or something like that. And it was like they were flying kites, and I think they depicted it earlier there. But, like, just like a lot of the drawing scheme of it, I just remember them not having a tail. So for me, I come from the reality where there is no tail on Curious George. You must come from the one where there is.
Yeah.
We're all just coming from different realities. It's all a nexus. That's what all the universe is.
Yeah. Mona Lisa's smile. This
12.
is interesting.
Mona Lisa's smile. The Mona Lisa is arguably the most famous painting in the world and has been discussed and dissected for half a millennium. From the strange phenomenon of her eyes appearing to follow you to her enigmatic smile. However, for some, the latter is especially mysterious, since there are many who claim that she didn't used to be smiling at all. Granted, it might just be that those exposed to the painting at an early age got better at reading her expression. Still, that so many people could be confused about one of the most studied pieces of art ever made seems odd. Number 11.
I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense because it's going to fade over time, so it's going to be harder to, like, examine it, but I don't know. I guess the
That's
Mona
just
Lisa...
it, though. It's actually the opposite because they're saying that now they can actually distinguish the smile, whereas before they said they swear it wasn't smiling. But for me, I've always kind of remembered the Mona Lisa having a slight, like, it's kind of like that half-ass smile, kind of like...
Yeah, like when mom's like, smile, taking a picture, and it's just like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't like obviously I'm familiar with the Mona Lisa, like I know what it is, but I don't have enough to say about it as to like whether I'm like, oh yeah, she definitely was smiling, or no, she wasn't, or whatever.
Yeah, I don't get like pictures of the Mona Lisa all over my walls, like trying to like of different eras, trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Like I don't look at the Mona Lisa enough for that
in
one.
1890, she wasn't smiling, and now she is, and you can see the grin get a little bigger every decade. Like
if you see her in 1998, she had a lazy eye.
The painting was tilted. Her eye just started to droop. Hello, Clarice or Clarice. I always say Clarice.
Hello, Clarice.
Oh, it
When
is
Dr. Hannibal Lecter
Clarice.
greets Agent Clarice Starling from his cell, a lot of us remember him saying, "Hello, Clarice," in that chilling tone. After all, that's the quote that everyone references all over pop culture.
Good evening, Clarice.
Yet, in reality, Dr. Lecter never says this quote in The Silence of the Lambs, even if he approximates it in the sequel.
Is this Clarice? Well, hello, Clarice.
He says good morning to her and even good evening, Clarice, but never that infamous quote. So, are people simply misquoting the film because hello works at all hours of the day? Or is there a more sinister explanation at work? Number 10. Pikachu's tail color. The adorable yellow, red-cheeked Pikachu acts as the mascot to the massive multimedia Pokemon franchise.
I was gonna skip that one.
Yeah, no, sorry. It said Pokemon's tail, so I was just like staring at his tail, like, what the fuck's wrong with his tail? But I got sidetracked for a second. I'm like, don't tell me fucking something's wrong with Pikachu that I never noticed.
But yeah, I'm sure like that we can just glance over that one because for me, I've never known anyone to like reference that movie. I mean, I'm not named Clarice, so if someone was like, hello, Clarice, I'd feel a little uncomfortable in the first place, even if they said, good morning, Clarice. Like,
yeah.
Good movie, creepy quote. But I mean, for other people out there, if you've seen it and watched and quoted it, and what's your reasoning? Feel free to comment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a movie I think I maybe seen it once, but I didn't even know there was like a Mandela reference to it. But,
yeah.
On to Pikachu. What the fuck's wrong with Pikachu?
Outside of the fact he used to be way fatter.
Why did I pause it? Why did I pause it right where he just...
With its image plastered on practically everything Pokemon, you'd think that its features would be burned into the brains of generations of adults and kids alike. But there are those who are convinced that Pikachu's tail, like its ears, used to have black on the end. Because of this misconception, there are plenty of images available that feature Pikachu with a black tail, so that could be to blame. Or maybe people are remembering something they were into as kids and are surprised when they revisit it as adults. Number 9.
Yeah, that one I like. I'm trying to think on like Pokemon Go. Does Pikachu's tail have the black on the end of it?
No. And like for me, I don't ever remember Pikachu having black on his tail.
I don't either.
And so it's kind of weird to me. I feel like those are the people who didn't really get too heavy into Pokemon. Distinguished that just because they'd see the black on the ears, and it's kind of natural to like kind of fill in accent fillers, I think, psychologically for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing too. For Pikachu, you don't see the full body a lot in a lot of pictures. A lot of times it's just the face. So, like you said, if you're just basing it off of, you see black on it on the tips of his ears, then his tail tip must be black too. But
yeah, I do love how he's changed over time. He used to be fat as shit. Like he leaned out.
He hit the gym.
Yeah, he did. I like how they had like, what was that? Like, what's that one Pokemon called? It's not Spearow. It's like that's the oh yeah, no, it is Spearow, right? Because the evolution of it is Spearow.
Yeah.
I like how it just has that going after him. Like, Pikachu literally can shoot lightning. Like, I don't know why Ash was even freaking out in that scene. Like,
yeah. Like, Pikachu, look how he's like, what? I got this bitch.
It just zaps it. But Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Looney Tunes. We're getting to some deep cuts now. Looney Tunes is a franchise of Warner Brothers cartoons dating back to the early days of animation. Its characters are iconic to the medium and are practically as well known as those by rivals like Disney.
What's up, Doc?
But as famous as Looney Tunes is, there are some who believe its name's spelling is no longer the same. Some people remember its name as being Toons, Toons, as in cartoons, while the current spelling appears to be Tunes, Tunes, as in a synonym for music.
Oh, you treacherous trickster.
The fact that its sister series is called Merry Melodies lends some weight to the musical spelling, and the fact that the words are homophones does mean confusion would be easy. Still, stranger things, right?
I definitely always thought it was Tunes.
Yeah, same. Like, it never really... There is something that, like, it doesn't sit 100% right with me, because I can see the distinguishing with tunes, but I think it could even come from the fact of catching Looney Tunes on a network, like another like a Cartoon Network concept, or like on a show like that, so your brain just automatically associates the word to tune.
Yeah. Well, there's so many reruns of cartoons. Like, look at like Scooby-Doo. There's like 5 or 6 different like associations of Scooby-Doo. It's like, Scooby-Doo, where are you? Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Gang. Scooby-Doo. Like, there's so like
yeah.
So it's like for some, and if it asks somebody, okay, what's the original Scooby-Doo show called? Some people be like, I don't remember, because it's like there's so many different names of it. But yeah, it could, like you said, it could just be a matter of a different network changing the name of it, or like, I don't know.
Or just us even psychologically imprinting the word tune because we're watching a cartoon. So we're just drawing that assumption in our head, even though we have the word presented in front of us.
Exactly.
Number 8, Tinkerbell writing the Disney logo.
Walt Disney's Disneyland. When you wish upon a star.
Considering how big Disney is, they sure have a lot of us misremembering their properties. During a lot of Disney animated features, the introduction usually features the Disney logo, with its iconic castle and the name in distinctive loopy handwriting. However, many fans seem to recall the character Tinkerbell from Peter Pan appearing in these intros.
No. No.
Although Tinkerbell has appeared in several variants of this sequence, a lot of us remember her using her wand to write out the word Disney before dotting the I with sparks. Despite many similar versions, none of them quite get it the way it's described.
Yeah, okay, I'll push the thing.
Chalk this one up to magic? Number 7.
Again, that's another one with Disney, how they've changed it so many times over the years of how it's done. Like,
it could just get, when like for whatever reason, I can swear a distinctive memory of exactly what other people are talking about, where it's writing with the wand and then dotting the I. But for them to say that never actually happened kind of is crazy to me, because it's like I swear that I've seen it at least in one property where like it again, it's just a trick of the memory. It's so weird how your thoughts get shifted over time like that.
Well, even think of like the Disney Channel, how they have like actors and actresses from Disney shows like make out the Disney ears,
The
with
Mickey Mouse ears, yeah.
Yeah.
With the,
so yeah,
you could just be associating
it could, yeah, it could be associating that with it somehow too. So, and that yeah, with how many different ways they've done it over the years, it's easy to just one slips in that never actually happened, but is like seems like it could have happened. Like it's not a far out idea to be like, oh yeah, Tinkerbell definitely wrote it out. But
yeah,
play it again, Sam.
Play it again,
This is
Sam.
Casablanca.
As one of the titans of cinema, Casablanca has a host of memorable lines from
He's looking at you, kid.
to
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris.
Yet one of its most quoted is never actually spoken in the movie. The line, "Play it again, Sam," a directive to the piano player to play as time goes by, is often associated with Humphrey Bogart's character Rick, yet he never says the words.
Play it. Yes, boss.
A few lines come close, but the exact phrase is not in the movie. It could be that in the pre-home video days, people just misremember the line. But still, you'd think a film buff like Woody Allen would know it, and he named a movie after a
Live TV from 85 plus channels with local sports and news. YouTube TV. Try it free.
This is the checkers game where grandson and granddad will bond. This
quote. Number 6.
Yeah, that Casablanca. That's one I've never really watched.
The one that's kind of funny that literally Woody Harold. Wait, who did they say? Or Woody Allen. Yeah, Woody Allen. I almost said Woody Harrelson. Woody Allen literally created a movie based
off a quote that doesn't exist.
That doesn't even exist. Yeah.
6. Beam me up, Scotty. This line is as synonymous with Star Trek as Live Long and Prosper. It's just a little weird that no one in the show or films ever actually says it.
Scotty, beam me up.
Most often attributed to Captain Kirk, this exact phrase is not spoken by anyone in the franchise. Although, in fairness, similar wordings like "The voyage home, Scotty, beam me up" were used from time to time.
Well, beam me up, Slappy.
That's Scotty, sir.
Geek test.
Busted.
But why does this misattribution have the omnipresence of Q? Do people just like the sound of it? Did someone tamper with our timeline? Or did a transporter accident send some of us into a mirror universe? Number.
Okay.
So yeah, I find that one weird, and that's one I've known about before. Was the "Beam Me Up, Scotty," and like I definitely think it is because like it's just a simple word workaround because it flows better for people instead of "Scotty, beam me up."
Yeah.
And it just kind of rolls off the tongue. So, but I think it's funny how popularly like and ingrained in culture of like the pop culture concept it got involved. Like it literally is like that's been used so many times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot. It's funny how a lot of these, as we go through these, they're referenced in other movies or TV shows, or movies are completely named after something that actually doesn't exist. But
it's like it just takes one other popular like piece of media to continue the false information of what it was, so that kind of adds into it and blows it up into this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it shows the effect that movies and stuff like that actually have on the mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all it is too. Is even some of these movies, they might know that quote doesn't exist, but because they know that it has such popularity in thousands of people, that they know it's going to stick and people aren't going to question it.
Yeah.
Number 5. Nelson Mandela's death. This is the memory that gives the Mandela Effect its name. South African President Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison before being released in 1990. Or was he? A great number of people seem to remember Mandela dying in prison, and reading about this fact in textbooks or seeing it on the news. Even Mandela's actual death in 2013 from a respiratory infection did little to quell the uneasy feeling in people's minds that something about the world or their minds had been altered. Number 4.
I never knew that he supposedly died in the 90s.
Yeah, and it's weird to think that, like, I can see just, like, it being the 90s, how that information could get distorted. Because, like, it wasn't as, like, easy to, like, look at how dissemination of information has changed even from the 90s to now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard for something to get twisted. I wouldn't say it's hard, but it's easier to discern the truth. Like, you know how many, like, celebrity death hoaxes you see all the time, like, nowadays? Like, I've even seen, like, Adam Sandler hoaxes that he died, stuff like that. And
even like when Kobe died, people didn't really believe it for the first couple hours because of how many hoaxes you see, and just like you never know with media and stuff and TMZ and stuff like that. How, especially because I think that's how like Kobe's wife found out was through the news. Like nobody had even said anything to her yet. So it's like the fact that she found out through the news and not from somebody else. It's like, how is she going to believe it if she's not actually hearing it from a valid source yet?
Yeah, see, I don't know anything about how that played out, but even for me, it's like it's still kind of weird to think of Kobe being dead, because it's like it's just weird because it's like, he died and now it's like no one. It's not like something that just keeps getting talked about. Obviously, it just disappears, and it's like what Kobe represented in my mindset was like. Obviously, I didn't really watch basketball religiously, so it's like. It's just weird to associate such an iconic player as dead now, and you just kind of forget about it to some extent.
Yeah, it's kind of like Michael Jackson too. People forgot. I mean, that's leaps and bounds of years. Like that's probably close to 10 years ago he died now. I want to say it was like early teens or like 2013, 2014 maybe. I could be wrong, but or maybe even later than that. I honestly have no idea, but yeah, people don't talk about it anymore. People still reference Michael Jackson, but never reference like, oh yeah, he's dead.
Well, and the thing that gets people to remember the fact that he's dead is the controversies that surrounded him. Whereas, like, there were controversies about Kobe, but like, it's not usually with the conversation. Like, usually it just takes someone like, as fucked up as it is, the way I kind of remember Kobe is all the kind of like dark jokes and the humor of like, instead of people doing the typical like, oh, Kobe like shooting something into a garbage can, now they make a reference to the helicopter crash, and it's like, is it in poor taste? Yes, but also I kind of that's like one way like I remember that. Oh yeah, he's dead.
That's it's funny you reference that. Our gaming reference for the day. I've seen a video from like from Warzone of this guy who's like flying a helicopter and there's an enemy team below him, and he like yeeted a helicopter at them to try to kill him, and then he jumped out and like parachuted away. And he like yeeted a helicopter at him. He goes, "Kobe." He's like, "Wait." He's like, "Wait, no, that's not what I meant."
Oh man,
but
that's funny.
Anyways, moving on. I'm already upset because I know this is a Forrest Gump reference, and I'm really upset because it's going to whatever.
Life is like a box of chocolates. While sitting on a park bench and offering candy to strangers, Forrest Gump famously says that his mama always felt, quote, life was like a box of chocolates. It's an iconic phrase, but one we're likely all guilty of misremembering.
Life is a box of chocolates, Forrest. You never know what you're gonna get.
In fact, his mama, and thus our simple hero, said that, quote, life is a box of chocolates. It's perfectly plausible that people have merely altered the quote to be more general, and thus give it more currency, but it's still strange that we all get the most memorable line in the movie wrong.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
Mama doesn't say the quote like that in flashbacks. Number 3.
Okay, but like people don't remember that quote as how she said it, it's how he said it.
But I think he says it the same exact way she says it though too. But I guess I'd have to see the scene to know.
I think when he says it on the bench, he says like. I could be wrong. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I always thought it was with like. I never knew it was like life is a box of chocolates. Luke, I'm your father.
Well, no, and I think because like right here, even on Forrest Gump quotes on this website, it does say he says life was like a box of chocolates. So I think that one is more of a. I think they're just kind of misappropriating the fact of what she said versus what he said. Then no one quotes Forrest Gump's mom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like he's quoting what his mom says, but he's misinterpreting his mom's quote. Thus, if he actually
or reappropriating, even like he may have just like changed it for the sake of she even said, like the narrator of this video even said, like it's to give it more of a generalization instead of just outright saying life is a box of chocolates, and it rolls better too. So
yeah, I don't know.
This one bothered me for a while, and I've known about this
Luke,
one for a while.
I am your father. The immortal line is more mortal than you think.
He told me you killed him. No, I am your father.
Everyone who's ever heard of Star Wars knows this quote. Yet in the actual film, Darth Vader says to Luke, "No, I am your father." Countless pop culture references and legions of dedicated Star Wars fans still manage to somehow get this quote wrong.
You killed my father.
No, Buzz. I am your father.
So what's the deal? Have we all just misquoted it because Luke provides more context? Or have some of us come to this reality from far, far away?
Luke, I am your father.
This isn't...
Yeah, that... I never knew that. I never knew he just says, "No, I am your father."
It's because Luke asked him a question. So because he said like no, because he said Obi-Wan, because I think he's referencing how Obi-Wan said that Darth Vader killed his father. Because he said you killed him, and that's why he says no instead of Luke. He says, "No, I am your father."
Well, fuck my ass.
Right?
The only Star Wars example of the Mandela Effect either. Just check out C-3PO's leg sometime. Number 2, starring Sinbad.
Pause it. I'll explain the leg one. So C-3PO actually in the you can't really see it right here, but his right leg is silver. Like I think this is pulled from one of the newer ones, but in the prequels, if you look back to it, one of his legs is actually silver.
Why? Like, what's the meaning behind that?
It's just like when he had the red arm in the new movies. They don't really give it any explanation. C-3PO, I guess, is just fucking always stealing parts from other people.
Yeah, he just falls apart once in a while, and he's got to fix himself up.
Number 2, starring Sinbad, Shazam. Quick question: who starred in the '90s movie about a genie?
I am Kazam!
Some of us correctly recall it being NBA star Shaquille O'Neal, who had a sporadic movie career throughout the '90s. However, others believe the star of the film in question was the comedian and actor Sinbad, who starred in a number of children's films during that same time period.
Racism! That's what Jesse Jackson was talking about!
Others also believe this non-existent film starring Sinbad was called Shazam rather than Kazam, which they claim is something else entirely. Are people conflating multiple movies in their minds? If only we had a genie to magically solve this mystery. Before we continue...
I guess I don't know enough about that one to know if I'm like torn about it.
Well, see, and like I've heard about this one, and like I've also heard there's still people who are just like, no, this movie is real. But I also don't have enough points to talk about it either. I mean, I honestly really forget about who, like, even Sinbad, period. So
yeah, yeah. I'm kind of curious to see what the last one's going to be.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Ding. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, the Berenstein Bears. You know that series of slightly saccharine children's books about a family of bears and the cartoons based off them? What were they called? The Berenstein Bears are remembered by many as part of their childhoods. However, they aren't the Berenstein Bears at all. They're the Berenstein Bears.
The Berenstein Bears. The Berenstein Bears.
The easy explanation is that names that end in Steen are far more common than those that end in Stain. And a lot of us were exposed to the stories as kids and misread or misheard the titles multiple times. Yeah. While some of us can shake it off, for others, this is a stain on reality. Do you agree with our picks?
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I definitely always said Berenstein.
Mm-hmm. That one bothers me a lot because it's like I could have swore it was a Berenstein.
Yeah. Fucking.
But yeah, there you have it, the Mandela Effect. It's super weird how it impacts, like, just, and it's like, I think it's easy. I think as time continues to progress, we're gonna see a lot more situations of the Mandela Effect. Like, there's a couple else, like other ones I was looking up today because I was reading. Like, there's a reaction video I was watching, and it was like this person was having all these different people watch different clippets of movies. One even is so E.T. So you know the whole popular line E.T. phone home.
Mm-hmm.
The very first time E.T. speaks that line in the movie, he actually doesn't say phone home. The kids say phone home right after him, but what he says is E.T. home phone.
Oh.
Yeah, he doesn't say phone, like, but he does say later in the movie, he does say phone home. But the very first time where a lot of people give that quote its credence to where it came out of, he actually says home phone.
Huh. Fuck society, man. It's fucking with my head.
But I feel like that's a good place to wrap it up. Just kind
Yeah.
of overall, like, if anyone knows any really cool Mandela effects, feel free to share them with us. I always like getting my mind warped by that shit. So
For sure. Yeah. I definitely like to come back to this topic in the future. I kind of forgot about these. So, yeah, again, feel free to check out all of our other videos. We do a lot of different things, gaming, non-gaming. Freaking, if there's a thing that pops into your head, we probably talked about it, quite honestly. So, check it out. Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Awesome. Signing off.
See ya.